Update. My 18 female best friend 18 female keeps making advances on my boyfriend 21 male, and I don't know what to do. Original post. 6 months ago, I met my now boyfriend and we hit it off right away. He's really amazing. Sweet. My family really likes him, and he cares about me a lot. We've had a very healthy and stable relationship so far, and we tell each other everything. He's like a best friend to me. I also have this best friend that I've known for a long time, since we were around 10 years old to be specific. The two of us always have a lot of fun together, and I really care about her. The thing about her is that she has a tendency to seek attention, especially from guys, and especially from the guys that I like. It's always been this way for as long as I've known her. The night I met my boyfriend, I was out with her and my boyfriend was also out with his friend. Upon meeting, she tried to hit on him, but he made it perfectly clear that he wasn't interested in her, and then proceeded to ask for my number in front of her and his friend. She also got his number though, because she asked him for it and he didn't want to be rude. However, once my friend and I got home, she told me that I should take whatever he says to me with a grain of salt, because she was convinced that he was just using me to make her jealous, and that he was playing hard to get. This made me a little insecure and made me doubt whether he really liked me or not. Later though, he started texting me and that's when we hit it off. We started talking every day and have continued doing so ever since that I told her about it. She still went ahead and decided to text him. In front of me, and ask him to hang out, still telling me how he was playing hard to get and was trying to make her jealous by texting me. He knew that she and I were together, so he didn't respond to her message at all but instead texted me and asked me out to dinner. A few days later, after he started texting me and after he asked me out, I found out that my BFF had been telling other people that she hooked up with him. I forgot to mention that my boyfriend is considered to be very handsome. It is also very successful for his age, so she was essentially bragging to people about something that never even happened. I let her get away with it just because I'm so used to her doing this type of stuff to me. He starts taking me out on dates as frequently as his schedule lets him. On our first date actually, my friend starts calling me obsessively, 18 times, and is rushing me to get back home because all of a sudden she wants to hang out with me. She proceeds to tell me I'm the worst friend ever, because I won't just drop everything to come hang out with her and that I won't interrupt my date with this guy. Not only does she call me, she texts my date, since she still has his number, and asks him when we're done and stuff like that, essentially rushing us to end our date early. After the date is done, she calls me again and tells me that since I ruined her entire night, the least my boyfriend, just my date at a time, and I could do was pick her up. She was apparently not at home but at the mall, which I had no idea about. I start to feel really bad, so I have to ask the guy to pick her up from the mall and then drive us home together. I never agreed to any of this, and she could have easily taken the bus since it wasn't that late. This became a habit of hers. She started interrupting our dates essentially every time we went out together by calling and texting me all the time. At once, she even started crying because she's not used to my attention being on someone else. Flash forward 6 months to right now. I've had several talks with her about this, and while it's not as extreme as in the beginning, it still happens sometimes. Now, this friend has a boyfriend of her own, but she still keeps making several comments about my boyfriend, like how hot she thinks he is and stuff like that. She sexualizes him frequently, and even admitted to wishing she could watch us doing it since she wants to see what it's like in bed. Today I found out that she has been using my boyfriend to make her boyfriend jealous. She told her boyfriend about the time she and I met my boyfriend and his friend for the first time. However, she twisted the story to make it seem like my boyfriend was into her, and she even failed to mention that I was even there at all. Now her boyfriend is really jealous because he thinks there's some random hot guy obsessed with my friend, even though they've never talked in person after the time she essentially forced him to give her a ride. Now I really don't know what to do and I need some advice. How do I deal with her? Now for the top advice before reading the update. This is your best friend? Who need enemies with friends like these? Right? If this is the best friend, then I would hate to see what the less than best friends are like. Her bar for a best friend is so low that it's in the deepest pit of hell, and her best friend still brings a shovel. Just because someone has been in your life a long time doesn't mean that they deserve to stay in your life. Your friend lies, is envious of you and your boyfriend's relationship, and has repeatedly attempted to sabotage your relationship. Explain to me how she in any way a good friend? You don't have to hate her, you can just accept that she no longer has a place in your life. This is the tough part of heading towards your 20s. You start to outgrow people. That's so true. I've had a friend that I realized after a while was toxic, and I've cut her out after about a year, and I'm so happy to waste a few more years around her. Start turning your phone off on dates, or at least tell her that you're turning your phone off on dates. And then don't check your phone. It will be hard because she will escalate. Don't reply. Givers must set limits because takers never do. That's what I've been doing. I turn off my phone and won't reply to anyone until after the date is done. It's still annoying to see that she's called or texted during it though. And now for the update. Hey, sorry for taking so long to update. I took you guys' advice, and the day after I read most of the replies, I texted her and told her that I was no longer comfortable being her friend, and that I wanted to take some distance from her. She called me crying and seemed really upset about it, but I told her that the way she behaved was really inappropriate, and that I don't have a place for people like that in my life. After some back and forth, she apologized that she came across that way, and that she totally understood if I wanted to take a step back. I thought everything was fine, and I actually didn't even feel the need to make an update, until I found out about this. Apparently my friend had showed up at my boyfriend's doorstep. I had stupidly told her where he lived a few times beforehand because I didn't really think too much of it. And she was crying to him and saying that I was really rude and mean to her, and that I was breaking off our friendship for no reason. Basically just spouting a bunch of nonsense. My boyfriend didn't let her in or anything, but instead told her that this behavior was really inappropriate, but he did offer to walk her up to her bus stop. She said something along the lines of how nice of a guy he is, and saying stuff like how he's so nice and kind to still want to be with me after what I did. My boyfriend asked her about what she meant, but she didn't elaborate. Knowing her, she was definitely making up some stupid lie on the spot. My boyfriend told her that she needed to leave immediately, and after a while she did. As soon as she left, he called me and told me everything. I blocked her and everything and haven't talked to her since, and so has my boyfriend. Not that exciting, and this behavior might sound really unhinged to some of you, but it's pretty normal to me. She's always acted this way, and I feel kind of stupid for putting up with it for this long. I have no plans on talking to her ever again though. Thanks for helping me see that she's crazy. Lol. I would tell any mutual friends about what happened too, just in case she tries to turn people against you. Yeah, good idea. I'll have to get onto that. Make sure to make it clear you do not want them mentioning anything about you or your boyfriend to her. Read your first post. Her behavior is unhinged and doesn't respect boundaries. Clearly you can't trust her. I'm glad you're no longer entertaining this behavior. I relate to this. Thank you for sharing the update. I had an ex-friend like that. While I was her friend, I wasn't dating. As soon as I started to date, she was interested in every guy I was with. Mind you, we weren't teens. We were adults. It seemed odd to have this type of behavior/competition at this age. Every guy I was with should also secretly text them and ask to go to the movies or dinner, without me. The guys would tell me about it, always told me they weren't interested in her and I trusted that, so I wasn't fazed. The guy I was spending the most time with, she got him drunk and went down on him, and called me about it right after while he was asleep. It felt like she was making an attempt to claim her territory. I asked if she drank anything and she said no. Needless to say, I continued to pursue this guy, and I felt bad for what he went through because of my friend. I started to distance myself from her. As the guy and I continued to grow together, I finally asked him about that night, and at first he pretended not to remember. He really felt awful, and I told him I was still interested and it was okay. We decided to pursue a relationship after that, and the ex-friend caught wind. Now, I never had the guts to directly cut off my friend like you did with yours. I almost wish I did though. My ex-friend ended up texting me, my guy, and I were friends asking everyone if we were sleeping together, and that because she had already been intimate with him, even though it wasn't consensual, that she felt as if I was in the wrong for potentially sleeping with him. No one fessed up anything, and she ended up coming to my place, unlocked the house, and dropping my stuff off without me knowing. The guy and I are now going on 4 years strong. It sounds like you have a really solid guy in your hands, and he has enough respect for you, which is amazing. Now for the last story. How concerned should I be about my husband and his increasingly close relationship with his old friend/new neighbor? Hello, I'm 34 years old. My husband is 32. I'm posting on here because he has a tendency of taking things pretty personally. So I'm just making sure I'm not making a big deal out of something I shouldn't before I bring it up to him. We have been married for 10 years. We have 2 children together. Our relationship has its ups and downs like all marriages, but all in all, we're both very happy and have a healthy relationship. We live in a neighborhood. A few months ago, an old childhood friend of his, Jane, who is 31, bought the house directly across from the neighbor on our left side. He said that they were very close middle school age, but lost contact in high school. I've spoken to her a few times and invited her over for dinner. She's very nice, but has always turned down my invitation and said she wouldn't want to be a bother. I understand if people are wary going into other people's houses. Being in close proximity while eating, etc. is something that a lot of people are rightfully still cautious of. Or I figured she could just be introverted, awkward, etc. So I never took her turning down the invitations personally or anything. I'm a teacher, and I teach in person. My husband works from home about 75% of the time, just going to his office when he needs to go to meetings or presentations. Our boys are both school-aged, so they're gone during the day. I didn't realize that my husband and his old friend were reconnecting during the day. Not that it's something I would have cared about, but I think that the fact that I didn't know about it makes it suspect for me, if that makes sense. I found out they were texting. He wasn't exactly trying to hide it. He wasn't being secretive about his phone or anything. And when she texted, her name popped up. I just didn't realize they were close enough to text or when they exchanged phone numbers. I asked him, but he was like, "Oh yeah, sometimes we talk when I'm doing yard work and she goes on her morning jogs." He said it totally casually, like he wasn't worried I had caught him doing something he shouldn't have been. Last night he actually surprised me and said Jane is going to come over for dinner. I'll treat us all to takeout. I was like, "Oh great, why don't you text her and see what she'd like?" And he said, "I already know her favorite. It's XYZ. I was like, "How do you know her favorite meal from there?" And he answered he must have remembered from when they were kids. Over a decade and a half ago. But okay. Then she came over. It was fine. We were all having a good time. She wanted to print something out from her phone. But to do that, she'd need to use a password to get onto our Wi-Fi, and then another one to print. So I was like, "Oh, I have the passwords written down. I'll go get them." But she said no, she was okay and just printed, which means she already had a password saved in her phone, which means she had already been over our house, which my husband had never told me about. But I also feel like I'm crazy. Is this worth confronting him over? I don't want to start a fight over my own paranoia. Editing to add, I did ask him about the password thing. I was like, I wonder how Jane was able to print without passwords. Unless she's been over here before, that wouldn't be possible. It is said sometimes the Wi-Fi messes up and won't ask for a password. It's a security issue. And I don't know enough about technology to disprove that. And it knows it. But it still seems like a flimsy excuse to me, and it's never happened before. We have a Ring doorbell. I don't have the app/login info on my phone, my husband does. Now for the advice. I wasn't at all concerned about your husband until his line about the Wi-Fi. That's a lie. Same here. Everything up to that point could be believed. Yep, 2 devices having miraculous failures that allow access but don't authenticate? Unbelievably improbable. Husband just cast a shadow over everything by lying about it. Which begs the question, just how much time has Jane spent in the house? Obviously quite a bit if she has access to the Wi-Fi and printer. I worry about how gullible Opie's husband thinks Opie is too. To tell her such a blatant lie that even someone with no tech knowledge can see through it as BS. It's also shady as heck to claim he remembers her favorite food from middle school. There's precious little I ate in middle school that I still like today. It is being so sure about it would suggest far more recent information. From a basic IT standpoint, it seems fishy to me. The Wi-Fi wouldn't mess up with a security issue without affecting the rest of the devices on the network, including the printer. You could try to enter your router settings at home, which can show you the IP, MAC address, and sometimes names of the devices on your network. Depending on your router model, you might also have a log of when a device was connected. Then you can cross-reference the addresses and see if her device connected to your network in prior instances. If you'd like some guidance to access the router, feel free to ask me any questions. Otherwise, you can also get instructions from your internet service provider. It's not you being paranoid. You have the truth. She had been over already. He's been texting her. Facts are there. The issue is I wouldn't have had an issue with this if he had been open about it. But with him being secretive, or at least not totally open, it makes it seem much more suspect. Oh, honey, Darling, it doesn't make it seem more suspect. It isn't suspect. It is a full-on red alert. I'm a tech, and your husband is lying to you and believing he can get away with it because he thinks you are stupid and that he can get away with this. You know for a fact that she can't print without that Wi-Fi password. Wi-Fis don't glitch and randomly let people in without a password. That isn't a thing. Your husband is deliberately misleading you and trying to make you second-guess yourself, aka gaslighting. Even your comment of your husband taking things pretty personally is such a huge red flag you can't even. In a healthy relationship, you don't need to post on here to reassure yourself that you are okay for feeling uncomfortable before you broach a subject with your significant other because you are afraid of upsetting them. My goodness, woman, have faith in yourself. Your husband is very, very, very likely cheating on you. However, don't confront him without proof. He will only gaslight you more, and you're on the risk of allowing it because you want it to be true. It is much easier to be a silly little woman who gets upset about things that aren't true than it is to have your husband treating you like an idiot and hooking up with someone else behind your back. Get proof. If and when you get proof, go talk to a lawyer, not your husband. Because if he is cheating on you, then he isn't your husband anymore. He is just community prick. Update. My 23 female best friend 23 female laughed at me and said that my husband 24 male was a catch and that I was lucky if she doesn't take him away. I don't know if I should tell him. Original story. Yesterday, my husband Adam and I hosted a small party at our house to celebrate that we are finally vaccinated. Nothing crazy, just us, 8 or 9 friends and a bunch of food and music. Obviously, my best friend Ava was there, alongside her boyfriend and her sister. My husband and I have known them since I was 16, and they were the ones who introduced me to him. I knew back then that Ava had a crush on Adam, but it seems that he never noticed it. She never told him because they never dated. And as the 16-year-old girl, I felt attracted to him the moment we met. But I never tried or said anything due to my respect and friendship to Ava. At first, Ava could go for hours about how perfect Adam was, and how perfect she was for him. And he has always been funny, and every time we were around him, nobody could stop laughing. Back then, I honestly believed that she was the one who was meant to marry him and not me. But they never had a real conversation, and he never tried to really know her. We became closer after our mom started to work at the same grocery shop, because Adam used to drop my mother, and sometimes he would stay for dinner. I was honest with Ava the whole time, and she told me that she grew tired of how difficult Adam was, because not long after that, she started to date someone else. Maybe a year after that, he and I started to date too, and we eventually got married. At some point in the party, the guys took their shirt off and started to battle with his pecs. Adam became a gym rat in his early 20s, so he has a good shape, and Ava started to talk about how much of a hottie he was, that he could hug her and break her on the spot, and that she would say thanks, and that the view could be better if it was only Adam without his shirt off. Mind you, I've never been the jealous type, and I thought that she was joking at first, so I said, "Don't you dare, Ava, he'd choose me after all," and made a random pose. But I guess that I struck a nerve because the face she gave me was the most furious one I've ever seen on her. She took my arm and took me to my bedroom to tell me that I shouldn't be so witchy, and that I shouldn't forget that my husband was a catch because I stole him from her. I was utterly confused, and I tried to apologize for hurting her, but she told me that I was lucky enough if she didn't take him away after that, to help him end his charity work. At the end, that hurt me, but I decided to pretend for the rest of the party. Now my husband has begun to ask me if everything is okay. I know that Ava's gonna apologize to me, but I don't know if I should tell him before or after that, because I know he will be mad at her. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Dump your best friend and tell your husband about it from the start. Yeah, that's awful. I've made jokes to my best friend. They aren't at her expense, it is mutual. She jokes too about men I like/date. About men she's dated, but never out of jealousy or wanting to steal her man. Just silly ones about how attractive they are and hyping her up for getting such a fine, perfect man, etc. But what your friend is doing? That's gross. She obviously hasn't gotten over him not falling for her, and she's taking it out on you, which isn't okay. Dump the friend. She will try to make things worse for you. 1. That's not your best friend. That's not even a friend. And it seems she finally showed her true colors. Say thanks and live your life without her in it. 2. Yeah, you should tell him about it. He will need to understand why she's no longer in your life. I have a feeling he probably knew. and you probably rejected her before, and you never found out about it. This, if or when you do talk to your husband, update please. I want to know if he has ever rejected Ava in the past. Believe people when they provide that moment of clarity and tell you who they really are. She's no friend of yours. She has done the math and decided she is better than you. She thinks you have taken something she was entitled to. One day she will betray you. Keeping her in your life will eventually give her an opportunity she has been waiting for. Cut her out of your life. Tell your husband so he knows to be ready for any possible lies or whatever. But you don't have to tell him she's into him. You just have to tell him that she has demonstrated that she's no longer your friend or to be trusted. 100% this. My life experience has taught me that this is spot on. And now for the update. I want to thank anyone who put some time aside to read me and try to help. A few things happened after that, and the last thing I could think of was getting into Reddit so I didn't answer any comments or message. I'm sorry. First of all, I want to answer the big question. 1. When Adam and I realized that we had feelings for each other, I rejected him at first because I knew that Ava had always wanted to be with him. He tried to take me on a date a few times after, and before I said yes, Ava and I had a long talk. She said that she didn't mind because she was already dating someone else, because again, she felt that Adam was being too hard, and said to take my shot. We began to date after that. So back into what happened. Ava came to my house with a cake that next morning, and told me that she was drunk, that she was sorry and didn't know why she said what she said. I gathered some courage after reading your comments, and asked her if she still had feelings for my husband, and she said that she wasn't sure. But more than having feelings, she felt humiliated because he never even looked at her twice but felt drawn to me. She said that she was still attracted to him, but nothing that involved real feelings. I don't know if she realized that she told me that she wanted to sleep with my husband, but no more than that. I said that even thinking of wanting that was disrespectful, and with everything that she said at the party, I've had enough. She had tried to argue about how it wasn't that big of a deal, that it was just overreacting, and to just get over it like I always do and be friends. So I told her that that was the only reason we were still friends, because I always had to suck it up her being so rude all the time in order to maintain the peace. She always has to say something about the way I live my life, and her wanting to sleep with my husband was the last straw. I'd asked her to leave my house, which she did. That same night, I decided to tell Adam what happened, and boy, he was mad as hell. He told me that back then, he knew that Ava had feelings for him, but he never felt the same. And between meeting me and dating me, she started to be more aggressive about it. They even kissed at a party and he stopped talking to her for a few weeks so she would get the message. She never tried anything again, until the nights before we got married when she texted him a nude and said that he still has time to back out from the wedding. He deleted all the messages, never answered her, and decided not to tell me because she was my maid of honor. After that, he decided to just end the friendship with her and focus on other things. When she tried something, even if it was just talk, he would just shove her off and leave the room. My husband apologized for not telling me that before, but assured me that he never gave her reasons to make her think he would leave me, and I believed him. I told him that my friendship with her had ended, and he said that he was sorry because he knew how much I loved her as a friend. That's it, guys. Ava hasn't texted or called, and our relationship's finally over. It took me a big one to realize that she wasn't my friend at all, but that's how life is sometimes. I can't believe she sent something like that to your husband the night before your wedding, and had the audacity to be your maid of honor. That just blows my mind. That's beyond messed up. OP, both you and Adam should block her number and all social media accounts. Also, after the whole picture trying to steal him before he got married, did she try anything else? It seems she kept her relationship with you to stay close and in contact with your husband, manipulating you each time she overstepped boundaries. Good for you for standing up to it. Make sure to take this as the wake-up call. It is that you guys seriously lack communication skills. Not telling you 100% gave your friend the green light that her actions, while deplorable and not returned, were acceptable to him and thus kept it up. Not telling you didn't help anything other than wasted years of friendship with someone who was constantly trying to get with your husband. You did the exact same thing to him by also not immediately telling him. You guys are supposed to be a team. You got so freaking lucky that this worked out the way it did, and it was pure luck. Neither of you got ahead of it and lied by omission to the other. If she hadn't been a complete idiot, she would have used that info to say that he tried to sleep with her. Then he would have had to admit what happened, which would place a big old nugget of doubt in your mind, and slowly this whole thing would have unraveled your lives. You got by with blind luck, and the fact that your friend was a freaking buffoon who didn't take the opportunity you both placed right in her lap. Be better, do better. Let this lesson strengthen your communication and your relationship. Do not make the even bigger mistake of learning nothing from how you both almost messed it all up, if not for the saving grace of an absolute idiot with the manipulative skills of a toddler. I'm a dude, but if my best friend kissed my wife at a party in the past and sent her pictures on the night before my wedding, and he was my best man, I can't imagine a scenario where I would be absolutely livid if she didn't tell me, especially if it kept on with him making advances. Either my spouse loves the attention, something more happened that they didn't tell me, or they seriously need to do a much better job of open communication. Seriously, I would be mad if my partner lets me stay BFFs with a duplicitous snake and didn't even warn me. Who knows what other stuff she might be trying to sabotage behind the scenes. Now for the last story. I may have ruined my fiancé's relationship with her parents with my condescending remarks to her sister. Backstory. I, 27 male, have been recently engaged to a sweet girl named Marina, 25 female, fake name. We met during college and we hit it off. Everything went well in our relationship, and overall there were no red flags, and we've been going strong for 3 years now. Except for the fact that she has always kept me away from meeting her family. In my culture, family is important. So when I knew that I was definitely going to marry this girl, I introduced her to my parents and requested that she do the same with me. She was hesitant, and it caused a few small arguments between us, but I've always respected her decision when she said no. I felt bad for a time, like she was going to leave me for someone better, so I mustered up the courage to have an honest heart-to-heart conversation with her. I know it sounds cheesy, but I told her my plans to marry her, basically proposed to her, while spilling my heart out, and in turn, she then told me why she's kept me away from her family. And the reason was her older sister, who we'll call Eva, 27 female, also fake name. Eva has been the family's golden child. She was pretty, smart, blah blah blah, and has always tried to flirt or seduce Marina's previous partners. She had 3 boyfriends before meeting me, all ending in breakups due to Eva, and one of them even slept with her. Marina told me that when she met me, she felt genuinely happy for the first time in a long while, and that she chose to go to a university far from her family to help with her mental health as her parents never batted an eye when Eva wronged Marina. I was appalled by hearing about her home life, and continued to listen to her talk about her issues and her feelings. After our talk, she said yes to marrying me. I was surprised since it was so sudden, and I wasn't expecting an answer, but I was also ecstatic nonetheless. And I'll be honest, I was literally jumping for joy when I realized we were getting married. I told her that we didn't need to meet her family if she didn't want to, but she insisted that it was okay, and that she loved her parents dearly and wanted me to meet them to get their blessings. The part that I need advice on. Just yesterday, we finally visited her family as COVID restrictions are lifting, and we were both vaccinated. They were very nice people, and I got along well with her parents. Eva was there as well as she was visiting, very convenient timing. And at first, I thought that she was acting very friendly towards me and Marina. Totally not what I was expecting. But soon she starts to compliment me way more, with the way I dress, my field of work being so lucrative, etc., while totally ignoring Marina and trying to steal my attention from her. I would always try to deflect her compliments and include Marina in my conversations with her. Overall, be friendly to her and her family, while keeping my distance. At this point, Marina was getting visibly uncomfortable. So I politely told Eva that I appreciated her comments, but she should turn it down a notch. She agreed, and I thought that was that. Dinner came around and we were all getting to know each other, telling stories and jokes, and then Eva then says something along the lines of, "It's a shame that you're getting married to my boring sister. I would have totally dated you," and tried to laugh it off. And before anyone can say anything, I immediately clapped back with, "The feeling isn't mutual. I definitely wouldn't date you even if I was single," and started to laugh myself. I think this got to Eva because she got upset and immediately left the dinner table without saying a word. Her parents were furious and said that I went too far and that I hurt her feelings. Marina defended me and said that Eva's comments were inappropriate and how she's always tried to steal her previous partners. Marina and her parents went back and forth, and when it was going nowhere, we just decided to leave. Marina got a text from her parents earlier today demanding that we apologize to Eva, and that her comments were just harmless jokes. Marina said I was joking as well, but they said I was being a condescending a-hole to their older daughter, and they are now blaming me and telling Marina that she is being an enabler to a toxic person. Their words, not mine. I am totally confused on what to do next. I never intended to hurt anyone's feelings. I just wanted to defend my future wife. But now I feel like I've strained her relationship with her parents. On one hand, her sister made her uncomfortable. But on the other, if I just kept quiet, none of this would have happened. What can I do to help mend Marina and her parents' relationship? Now for the top advice. Marina knew this is how things would go, obviously. It's why she moved away from her parents and why she didn't want to introduce you to them. Impressing them isn't the priority. Being loyal to Marina is, and you rock that. Let them be mad and follow Marina's lead in all this. It is her family, and it's not up to you to fix their relationship, which you didn't damage. All you did was proclaim your loyalty to your fiancé and say you wouldn't be interested in your fiancé's sister, which in any rational family would be applauded, and likely would never even come up because all of this is ridiculous, through no fault of your own. You did good and have nothing to be ashamed of or feel bad about. Just talk with Marina and support her. Also, not saying anything may have been what her parents wanted, but I can almost guarantee you that Marina's heart filled with love over you clapping back at her sister like that. And Marina's the one who matters here. Not only did you completely assuage her fears about her sister stealing you from her, but you actually turned the tables on her sister and made her feel bad for once. Which honestly, she seems like she deserves it more. If you had just played along, that little bit of doubt would probably still be there for Marina. I call this a win. I'd be willing to bet this was an enlightening moment for Marina that she will look back on in the future as the time when she knew for sure she'd found the one. What can I do to help mend Marina and her parents' relationship? Nothing. You didn't break it. Her parents did, a long time ago. This visit just followed the family pattern. Eva gets to say and do whatever she wants, no matter who it hurts. But the instant someone pushes back, Eva becomes the victim and her parents take her side. Could you have handled this differently? Sure. You could have replied with, well, I love Marina, or what a thing to say. But I suspect that Eva would have found a way to be offended regardless. Notice how Eva's parents didn't say anything when Eva said that horrible thing? Here's the breakdown. Eva, awful human being. Marina's parents, enabling A-hats. Marina, incredibly normal and grounded despite her obvious dysfunctional family. If Eva went to bits over you rejecting her, then the real world is going to eat her sorry butt alive. If you both choose to not have her parents or Eva at your wedding, no one would blame you. I'm sorry I said I wouldn't date your daughter if I was single. LMAO, right? If he does apologize, he should say something like that. Or, I'm sorry I shut down her flirting so harshly. Or, I'm sorry I wouldn't date someone who stole her sister's boyfriends. I'm sorry, Eva was so wildly inappropriate and caused me to overreact. So is she apologizing later, or... Update. My best friend is pregnant with fiancé's baby and plans on leaving the baby with me because she is not ready to be a mom. Original post. I am in a situation that seems so surreal. So, I have a best friend. We've been friends for 12 years, and she's been more than a sister to me. We share everything, and we've been together through a lot. I also have a fiancé, and we all share the same social circle, a large group of friends. I have been with my fiancé for 4 years now, and last year in June we welcomed our beautiful baby boy. There were a lot of complications, and I also had surgery due to those issues. I stayed in the hospital for a month and was on bed rest for the next few weeks. In August, one of our friends had a wedding, and it was about an 8-hour drive away, so I couldn't attend because it was quite a hassle, considering I wasn't well and the baby was still too young. But my fiancé attended, and so did my BFF and a large part of our group. After the wedding, BFF drove back with my fiancé, stayed with me for 3 days, and then had to go back to work, which is not in the same city, so I didn't see her for months. Everything went back to normal. I went back to work and everything seemed fine. I talked to her like usual, and that was that. Fast forward to this week. I came home from work and guess who? BFF, heavily pregnant, due anytime now. Her due date is the 16th. I welcomed her, got her settled in, and everything was fine. We had dinner, then started catching up. I didn't want to pry too much because I figured if she had wanted to tell me details of her pregnancy, she would. Maybe she wasn't comfortable yet. So I told her we had to make plans to go out, shop, eat. You know, normal stuff. Then I asked when she'd be leaving so we could make the most of the time we had. She proceeded to tell me she isn't leaving. I was confused and asked again, like, what? She again stated she isn't leaving. I asked her why, and her answer, oh my God, the baby is my fiance's. I was left speechless. Then she said she'd thought about it and that she's not ready for motherhood, so she came to deliver, stay for 4 months while she heals and rests, and then she'll leave the baby here and go. At this point, I felt like cameras were hidden somewhere and it was a prank, half expecting her to say it was a joke, but no, she was as serious as a heart attack, which I was sort of having. I didn't know what to do, how to react, whether to scream or yell or kick her out. So I just left, went to my room and locked myself in, but I couldn't sleep either. I haven't talked to my fiancé yet. He works as a sales rep, and most of the week he's away. So what do I do? Currently it's Saturday, the busiest day at the office, and I can't even think straight. How do I navigate this situation? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Grab your baby, grab your things, and move out. He can care for that baby. Why should you do that when both of them betrayed you and you have a baby yourself? First, call the police and have her arrested for trespassing. She was only there at your invitation and is now refusing to leave. I would call your fiancé now and put him on speakerphone with your BFF. The moment he confirms that this isn't fake, tell him that you'll have all of his belongings packed and ready to go for him to move out the moment he returns. Then show your ex-BFF to the door because it's your apartment, not hers, so she has no right to stay there. He'll be home by 2 p.m. today, and I think I'm already freaking out about what's going to happen then. If I ask him on the phone, he's going to lie or deny or hang up and not come home. I think I'd rather surprise him, or I'm going to surprise myself. Either way, I think the conversation would be more honest in person. You get your ducks in a row in GTFO. He cheated on you with your bestie and got her pregnant and never told you. What a POS. This is not a man you want to stay with or marry, or get stuck raising the affair child. Pack up and move to a family members with your child if you can. Contact a lawyer ASAP. I'm in Kenya and the judicial system is pretty much non-existent and hella expensive, but the good thing is we don't have many joint assets. I am considering this, thanks. Now for the first update. Well, thank you all for the advice and support. It's really been helpful, and it's good to know I'm not going crazy. Sorry, the previous post was long and not well written. So here's the update. I left work at 1, got home, took my kid and house help to my neighbor, who I've grown close to and who sometimes helps me out when my house help is off duty. When I came back, she was sleeping, like completely oblivious to the fact that she had just turned my life upside down. Then the POS of a fiancé came home, and I confronted them. So apparently I'm that dumb because tell me why they told me they had been together since before. And since she became pregnant, he's been going to see her every other week and supporting her, paying her rent, buying her food, etc. They said I wasn't supposed to find out. The now ex-fiancé got mad at my ex-BFF for coming over and telling me, and after all that BS, we had an argument. I blew up at both of them, chased them out, threw them out, and locked the door behind them. I was honestly expecting more of a fight because I was ready to mess that man up. All that time wasted thinking we were building something together, it's a lot. I'm really angry and disappointed, but I think it's all going to be okay because I don't need that kind of baggage right now. I have a lot to think about and a lot to go through. I don't know how or what happened, but his mother just called a few hours ago. I didn't pick up. I don't want to deal with that BS right now. I know she's going to defend him, say I should give him a chance, or that it's not wrong. I don't know what they're going to try to say to me, but I don't want to hear it right now. They're very traditional and don't see anything wrong with cheating or having another child with another woman. It's like it's common, and I'm just really mad. Right now I haven't talked to either of them, but I'm pretty sure they went to his home, which is very far away, like 2 hours from here. But I don't care at this moment. So, I'm here in bed typing. My son just went to bed, but I'm really not taking any calls or anything to do with them right now. I just want to enjoy the peace while it lasts, because I know tomorrow I won't. I want to have a moment of peace. So much for Mother's Day. I was hoping for something celebratory, not this kind of drama. I never expected this kind of betrayal. But I'm good. I can't waste any more energy on that man. He's not worth it. I know he's not worth it. Thank you all for your support, truly. It's been a lot, and it feels like I'm alone right now because I can't even ask my mom for support. I bet she would say I should just stay for the sake of marriage and all that BS. So I'm not talking to her right now. And anyone who's going to tell me to forgive him, I'm going to tell them to shove it where the sun doesn't shine. That's all for now. I'm just going to enjoy my peace and my cup of tea. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Second update 2 months later. Hi guys, it's been quite a while since I posted, so here's the update. But first of all, thank you all for your support and comments. You really helped me gain clarity in this situation. After I kicked them out, they went to stay at his parents' place. Apparently, this affair of theirs had been going on for a long time, and every time he was away at work, he would go see her. He wanted to have both of us, but she decided she didn't want to be a mom, and thus disrupted their plan. That Sunday, as expected, I got lots of calls and texts from his parents trying to make me see sense, trying to make it all seem normal and get me to take him back, and all that BS. But I was just done with him. Nothing could ever make any of that look normal. He also came back the following Saturday wanting to talk, and said things along the lines of, I gave you space to stop being angry and be reasonable, so I'm going to give you a chance to reconsider your options, because once I leave, I won't come back. And as you see, I have another wife. That made me super mad. I called him all the names in the book, told him off for how horrible he is as a human being, and told him he's nothing but scum who doesn't deserve another second of my time. I told him to look around, find anything he ever bought and take it with him. I made sure he collected everything with his name on it and kicked him out of my life for good. Tell me why later that evening my mom called me and said his parents had called her to tell her to talk to me. Turns out I was pretty presumptuous about my mom because during the week we had talked, and she's been my rock through all this. She even took my son for the week as I sorted through everything else. My mom tore them a new one. They had wanted to get the families together to discuss how we should get back together, but both my parents shut that down fast. They told them how they gave them their daughter in good terms, but they failed to raise their son to be an honorable man, and how the disrespect toward me, in extension, was disrespect toward them too. After he took his stuff, leaving the furniture and other things he couldn't carry, he mostly took his clothes and shoes, and was petty enough to take a pair of shoes he had bought for me earlier this year. I sold them. Every single one. It took a little while, but I did. Then I moved and bought everything new. So now I'm living in this cozy, new upgraded house. No stress from anyone or anything. I don't know what happened to that bee, but quite frankly, I don't care. Her betrayal was bad enough. I can't waste time thinking about someone who never gave a good thought about me. They really deserve each other, and the trash took itself out too. Also, the meeting with the families happened, but it wasn't to get us together. It was for custody and whatnot. He still gets to be in our son's life, pays for everything including future school fees and all that, and if he doesn't, his parents are to be held liable for that. So it's safe to say I'm set up and comfortable where I'm at. Everything is going well. I'm happy and at peace. It's a relatively happy ending to an otherwise crappy experience. Thank you all for your support through this crazy situation. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife we either go to marriage counseling or I file for divorce? My wife, 31 female, and I, 32 male, have been together for 11 years and married for 6. We have 3 young kids together, and our marriage is falling apart because my wife doesn't want to change a thing. One of our biggest issues is the topic of more kids. My wife has decided that 3 is nowhere near enough, and she wants to have several more children, at least 3 more she says, but she likes the idea of even more than that. Meanwhile, I'm done with the 3 we have. She has tried to tell me we'll be having at least 3 more kids, and there's nothing I can say or do to stop it. So, we haven't had sex in 5 months. She has called me an a-hole and accused me of hating our kids, and when I tell her to stop saying that, she says I must hate them if I don't want more of them. She shuts down any concerns I bring up and never has an answer to where we'll get the money or time for 3 more kids. Her last delivery was difficult, and the doctors told us they wouldn't recommend many more pregnancies for her. She doesn't care and told me as much. She says that not giving in makes me manipulative. Another one of our big arguments is over time with the kids. We both work, and I feel like we should both be involved with the kids and taking care of the house. She tries to hog all the time when we're not working. She has told me she doesn't want me to take time with our kids away from her, and I've told her I just want to spend some time with them too. The times I do have the kids, she acts like she hasn't seen them for weeks, even though we live in the same house. I leave her to do everything else even though I do my fair share. I've tried to suggest we figure out a schedule or just do things as a family, but she says I'm not going to take over the kids and leave her cleaning after work. I can't bring up sharing time with the kids and chores because she's not okay with it being mentioned. Another big issue is money. We disagree on how we spend, save, and utilize the money we earn. It actually comes back to the topic of having more kids and how we spend time with our kids now. She doesn't have any concern for financial stability, and I do. There are other smaller things we fight about too, though none of those are as frequent or as long-standing. But for a year now, our marriage has been falling apart, and she speaks to me like she hates me 80% of the time. There's no middle ground or talking things through because she resorts to name-calling. After trying to speak with her and asking for therapy before, and her turning me down flat, I reached the end of the line. I started therapy on my own and booked us a marriage counseling session, but she didn't show. After a few more individual sessions, I told my wife it's either marriage counseling or divorce, because I don't want to raise our kids hearing these daily fights and feeling caught between feuding parents day after day. My wife said it wasn't my call to say either or, and that if I really cared, I would be fighting harder for our marriage. Am I the a-hole? Get a divorce. It's not going to get better. She obviously doesn't understand how marriage and children work. Having additional kids is a 2-yes situation, not an I'll have more kids against your wishes situation. Yep, it's sexual coercion. OP needs to get the heck out. At least you'll be able to spend time and know your kids during your custody time. Additionally, you have been fighting for your marriage. She wants complete and total surrender to her thoughts and feelings. Again, that doesn't work in a marriage. Marriage is about compromise and working through issues. Your wife is out in left field, and I wouldn't touch her in any way considering you may have another child as a result of your encounters. We haven't been intimate in months, and that's not going to change anytime soon, ever from the way things are looking. Not the a-hole. Your wife is off her rocker. Get a vasectomy. Freeze some sperm on reserve just in case your next wife wants a child. Seriously, she has a screw loose. Lost the plot. Without idioms, she needs her head examined. In all seriousness, does she have postpartum psychosis? If she won't get help, it's on you to help your children and yourself. See an attorney. Yes, divorce is hard on kids, but living in a home brewing utter toxicity is worse. If you get out and form a healthy union with someone else, the kids will see an example of a functional family. She won't let you parent? How's she going to like parenting every other week? This goose is cooked. I'm not freezing any sperm, but I will be getting a vasectomy soon. She doesn't have PPP or PPD. This is simply her being stubborn and wanting to get her way on everything. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not telling my cousin why my wife doesn't do any chores? A year ago, things in my marriage came to a head and my wife nearly divorced me. Long story short, when we got married 13 years ago, she and I agreed that she would work part-time and handle most, but not all of the domestic stuff while I focused on my career, any home improvement projects she came up with, maintenance and repairs, as well as parenting duties. I was up many nights with the babies and did everything else that comes with being a parent. 10 years ago, she went back to work full-time and even started her own business with my full support. The problem? I never adjusted my domestic contributions. That, understandably, led to her being burned out and she started resenting me. Fast forward to a year ago, she was going to leave me, and I, realizing how badly I'd screwed up, decided to take on and provide my wife all the support she had given me. Ever since then, I've been doing the majority of the housework while she focuses on growing her business and being with the kids. And ever since, our marriage, with a little additional help from marriage counseling, has never been better. Fast forward a bit further, and my cousin, along with her husband and 3 kids, stayed with us this weekend. But they don't know any of the above and just saw my wife relaxing and playing with the 6 kids all weekend, while I tirelessly cooked, cleaned, and kept the place spotless for 2 families. So here's where I might be the a-hole. My cousin started asking me how often I cook or do laundry, etc., and I told her all the time, but didn't tell her why. She then started pointing out everything I was doing to her husband with a clear message that if I could, he could. Here's the thing, her husband is the primary breadwinner, and unlike my wife, my cousin actually works only part-time. Should I explain that we are only a year into my penance, and that my wife used to be the one doing all this and more, or do I just mind my own business? Edit. One quick clarification. A few people have picked up on the word penance and, if meant seriously, legitimately criticized the word. However, it didn't come off how I meant it. My wife did not ask for penance, nor is it really that. It was written more tongue-in-cheek because I am no fan of doing laundry. I wanted to win my wife back because she was going to leave me, and I decided that I needed to show her with action that I fully support her and her business. My wife's love language is acts of service, and she cares not for words but for action. So, action I am taking. At some point, we will find a different dynamic that is more equitable, but for now, I feel that I owe her this and love how happy it makes her. It is none of your cousin's business how your household runs. You should probably also not see your chores contribution as penance. It is what it is. You are taking your turn. There is no penance about it. Also, if OP is still working full-time, the household chores need to be distributed evenly. One person shouldn't be tirelessly cooking and cleaning, while the other is relaxing with the kids, whatever that means. You should both be pitching in with cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids. Also, the kids can be assigned some age-appropriate chores too. Actually, one of the innovations I introduced 6 months ago was chores for the kids. Work smart, not hard. Simply explain that the division of labor looks different for every couple. She supported you while you built your career, and now you are returning the favor. Or don't explain at all. I do hope there is some flexibility in your division of labor as needed depending on what is going on. Like if one of you is sick or goes out of town, or you have visitors, or just different things that pop up in life that disrupt the usual routine. If not, in the long run that could end up being a point of contention as well. I have to travel for work from time to time, and she absolutely manages everything when I'm gone. And certain jobs are too big for one person, but right now I need her to see this isn't a phase. In time, things will become more equitable. Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend to mind her own business? Original post. My 28 male girlfriend, 25 female Julie, has a weird obsession with cartoons. I don't mind it. She had a really rough childhood where she wasn't allowed to watch any children's shows. And she only started watching after she turned 18 and moved out. She watches everything, but her most favorite ones are SpongeBob SquarePants, Powerpuff Girls, Phineas and Ferb, Teen Titans, and many more. If I am being honest, I like this obsession of hers, even if it is kinda weird to me to see a grown adult watching a kid's show. But I think everyone should have a childhood which she clearly missed. So last week, I threw a get-together at my house. I invited all of my friends. My best friend Rachel, 28 female, was also there. She has been my best friend for almost 15 years now. She has met Julie, and I never thought they had any bad blood between them. Rachel seems to really like Julie. So at a party we were all having fun and playing games. I should mention that Rachel was wearing a fedora. Julie had to stay late for work that day, so when she arrived, the party had already started. When Rachel came to say hi, she didn't have her fedora on her head. She put that hat on in front of Julie, and Julie said in a mimicking Doofenshmirtz voice, "Perry the platypus." She thought this was funny because Rachel's last name is Perry. So Julie made a joke that she only gets it. I smirked a little, but it seems to have caught Rachel off guard. And when Julie went inside a room to change, Rachel, in front of everyone, told me my girlfriend was rude. I apologized and explained this is just a harmless joke she does, and this is a line from her favorite TV show, Phineas and Ferb. She didn't let it go. Instead, she started to press this matter even more. She asked me how can I date a literal child, and that it is really embarrassing that she behaves like one. I told her that's just how she is, but she doubled down and told me she finds it a little creepy that I am dating someone whose brain hasn't developed after 8 years of age. I find it a little offensive because Julie is very smart and works in a STEM field. Rachel also made some odd and hurtful comments seeing my girlfriend's plushies and doll collection. When I tried to defend Julie, Rachel would just shrug and say, "I am your friend. I know what's best for you." She said I shouldn't date someone so immature like Julie, and I am better off with someone more mature. I told her to mind her own business, and that what Julie likes is none of her business. My dating life is my choice, and she should stay the heck out of it. Rachel was giving me and Julie cold shoulders throughout the party. Then later that day, she messaged me and said she could not believe I was such a jerk to her because of my girlfriend, and that I am throwing away our friendship because of her. She hasn't talked to any of us. Julie made plans with Rachel to go on shopping, but Rachel just said she is busy in a text and hasn't contacted her. Julie is sad too because she was excited for their shopping spree. I didn't tell Julie about our fight because she adores Rachel. She would be crushed to know what Rachel has said about her. I am wondering if I went too far. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Does Rachel have a candle for you? Plenty of my adult friends have stuffed animals and watch cartoons, and they're tax-paying adults. My friends are mainly in their 30s, and watching cartoons is genuinely the social norm for us. And there's actually no clearer or stronger sign of immaturity to me than being weird about someone's childish interests. It always comes off as overcompensating. Yes, love me some cartoons. Everyone I know that I consider smart likes cartoons. She's judgy and jealous. Also, Phineas and Ferb is amazing. Your girl has good taste. Rachel has a crush on you. I don't think so. She has had boyfriend before, but none of her behavior seems like she would have a thing for me. The sniping at your girlfriend followed by, "I know what's best for you." Dude, she might as well have painted it on a sign. That is toxic girl code for, "I want you to value me more than her." As an older woman and in the education field, I see this every single day. She likes you. The mature woman she thinks you should date is her. She's jealous, and it is eating her up. She will continuously find things to complain about her girlfriend or mock. She will always tell you that it's because you deserve better, etc. I see this every single day with my students. Anyone who says they know what is best for you needs to take a huge step back. This is your life. You are happy. Let her know that she gets to give an opinion, but when you tell her you're happy, then she needs to stop. Your girlfriend isn't coming between you. Your friend thinking she knows best about your life is coming between you. Now for the update. Hello everyone. Not much has changed. I did talk to Rachel about it. I explained it to her how rude she was. I did tell my girlfriend why Rachel was upset, but Julie was not mad. Instead, she was very apologetic. She said if she knew Rachel would be upset of her little joke, she would have never said anything. She wants to apologize to Rachel. I tried to explain she has nothing to apologize for. She didn't do anything wrong. Instead, Rachel was the one who overreacted. But Julie put her foot down and invited Rachel on a dinner. Julie said sorry. She told Rachel about her childhood, about how her parents were strict and never let her have toys or let her siblings watch cartoon because they were academic nuts who thought those things were too distracting. Julie even cried while telling some of the stories, one of which was when her father beat her because he found a book of Harry Potter under her bed. She escaped that place after she turned 18. Rachel was good and apologized as well. She said she didn't know Julie had such rough childhood, and she was so insensitive towards her. I thought this was it, that Rachel had finally learned her lesson. But when the dinner was done, Rachel took me out to talk privately. She said she is now 100% sure Julie's not right for me. I asked her why, and she told me Julie has a lot of trauma, and I shouldn't be the one to carry the burden. She thinks Julie's past is going to be a problem if we ever have kids. She might start abusing them too. I got angry and told her Julie's nothing like that. She is sweet and kind. She has been going to therapy because of her childhood trauma, so she shouldn't be too hard on her. I even asked if she was jealous of Julie. Rachel did fumble on her words while saying no. But we got into an argument, and in the end, I told her I want some space from her. She has no right to dictate who is right or wrong for me just because she got it right 2 times. She always had problem whenever I dated someone. She has no right over me in my life. Rachel started crying, so I called an Uber for her and didn't say a word beyond it. Now Rachel won't stop calling me. She was blaming Julie for ruining our friendship and even accused her of being a cheater. I told Julie about the whole argument. She cried a lot because she never wanted her little joke to escalate so far. But she agreed Rachel went too far. Rachel sent some very hurtful messages to me about Julie. I didn't tell those to her. Julie has also blocked Rachel. She got angry too when she heard Rachel thinks Julie would also become an abuser. Also, to those people who said that Rachel never liking my ex is a red flag, well, she has good reason to not like them. Before Julie, I had 2 serious relationships before. My first ex cheated on me. Rachel warned me about her, but I brushed it off. My second ex was very controlling and toxic. When we broke up, she slashed my car tire. That's why I sort of think Rachel has good intuition about people. But not this time, because I know she is wrong about Julie. And Rachel always had something to say whenever I wanted to date a girl. Even if she turns out to be right about Julie, I do think Rachel is just too involved in my personal life. Rachel may not be jealous in a romantic sense, but she certainly wants to be the most important woman in Opie's life. His decision to put distance between himself and Rachel, regardless of whether Julie and him stay together, is 1000% the right decision. I can't imagine the arrogance to tell my closest friend, "Dump this person. I know what's best for you." Like, maybe I could imagine saying, "I'm worried about ... But at the end of the day, I respect my friends and their ability to navigate their own relationships. I've had to be the bad guy and tell a friend that I think they're moving too quickly, or point out some glaring red flags I'm seeing with someone they're dating. But I've never tried to break someone up. Rachel isn't looking out for Opie. She's just jealous she's no longer the #1 girl in his life. Julie's joke didn't escalate the matter this far. Julie's joke didn't escalate anything. Rachel was just looking for an excuse to have something against Opie's girlfriends, and found one in a simple normal joke. Nothing Julie said was bad or inappropriate or weird. Right? The other exes just happened to do something to prove Rachel's gut, but she was waiting on Julie to do something. She went from rude to childish to too traumatic, hoping something would stick. Yeah, I'm so freaking dumbfounded why a parried a platypus joke didn't even get laughs out of 28-year-olds. It's a classic cartoon, and most 20-somethings I met who had access to Disney as a kid would have loved that joke. But even if it didn't land, it definitely didn't suggest anyone is immature in my opinion. SpongeBob, P&F, all these cartoons us 20-somethings grew up with are still very much liked and used as jokes or references. Even if Rachel didn't blow the whole thing out of proportion, I judge her taste before Julie's, wearing a fedora and frowning so much about a very on-point reference. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my friend's proposal disrespectful? Original post. Alright, so here's the deal. My friend, male 27, decided to propose to his girlfriend of 3 years, Dina, female 26. The two met at a bar pre-COVID and were just chatting at first. But it quickly led to more, and eventually the two of them moved in together and discussed marriage. Personally, I think they're a great match, and my friend Steven has never been happier. He told me that he was planning to propose to Dina, and I was ecstatic. Well, the day of the proposal hits, and I called Steven the next day, which was last night, to congratulate him. But he wasn't happy. He told me that Dina had said no. I was shocked and asked if he knew why. He said that she didn't like how he proposed. Now here's the thing. I knew he was going to pop the question, but I didn't know how he was going to do it. He thought it would be romantic to propose at a place they met. Yes, a bar. Already, I could kind of see why she might not like that. But I decided to ask her privately because she and I have gotten to be close. She confided in me that it's because she told Steven multiple times that she didn't want to have a public proposal, and that she was horrified he would do it at a bar full of places, and that she felt disrespected that he didn't accommodate that. I told Steven that his proposal was honestly really disrespectful, and seriously kind of messed up. To which he told me I was being an insensitive a-hole, and should be supportive as a friend rather than talking down on him. But I don't know if I'm wrong here. Am I the a-hole for calling my friend's proposal disrespectful? Edit to clarify, I am actually female. Now for the comments before the update. Steven is the a-hole. If his girlfriend told him not to propose in a public setting, he should have respected that. The bar thing doesn't bother me because it's their first date. What's bothersome is he did something she specifically asked him not to. And now his feelings are hurt because he didn't listen to her. Not the a-hole. Also, if she eventually changes her no to a yes, it sets up a bad pattern where Steven wants to get kudos for not listening and paying attention. The cornerstone of a good relationship. This is so true. I'm stuck in a toxic living situation with someone with full-blown NPD. The covert kind, or I wouldn't have ended up there. And he does this all the time. Does stuff that I've blatantly said not to do. Lost my cool at him and warned him about many times. Then when I lose my cool once more, it's "you're just mad that I" insert something that I totally would be wrong for being mad about if it was actually what I was mad about. This guy is probably like, "You're just mad that I proposed." Not the a-hole. Good on you for not taking your friend's side just because he's your friend. He sounds manipulative, and the people on the receiving end of manipulation always need outsiders, assuring them that they're not crazy. Oof, I genuinely hope you're not living with my ex. He would definitely have said something like, "Well, geez, I'm sorry I wanted to propose to you," or "I'm sorry I wanted to be romantic. You're just mad because I didn't order the same drink as the time we met." When really it would have been me who got a different drink without thinking anything of it. Or something equally ludicrous and backhanded. And then absolutely anyone but him would be insensitive for not agreeing with him. I hope you gain the resources you need to unstuck yourself from that. Internet strangers are rooting for you. Not the a-hole. He's the one who's not listening to what his partner is saying. It's the same as like guys buying their girlfriend gold or silver rings, but they bought the wrong one. Like gold for their girlfriend who only wears silver. It shows a lack of caring and attentiveness on a very basic level. Like you should know your girlfriend's preferences. Now for the update. Update for those who ask. This whole situation played out far differently than I expected. I didn't know that Steven had a Reddit, and he saw everything. All of this. He confronted me about it, and while he was ticked off that I aired their dirty laundry, he did end up thanking me for posting it, because it gave him a different perspective. So thank you, commenters. As for their relationship, Dina and Steven are still living together. Sort of. Dina was upset over the whole event, and has spent the past couple days mostly at her parents' house, and then working it out with Steven at night. Dina said she's working on forgiving him, but mostly has been bothered that her wishes weren't met. At this time, they are not engaged, and Dina has no plans for that anytime soon. I did tell Steven that if they stayed together, I would help him plan a proposal in the future. The three of us live in Florida, and we're all relatively close to a beach. So I suggested to Steven the next time he proposed, he do it in the evening at a beach or somewhere private without a lot of people or noise. Steven also told Dina he is planning on returning the ring he bought, and will be giving her some of the money to use for whatever she wants. I think he ordered flowers to be sent to her work too, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess it all worked out in the end. I remember driving somewhere with my then boyfriend and mentioning that I didn't care a lot about how I was proposed to, as long as it wasn't in public. The color drained from his face. I obviously didn't know it, but he had been planning to propose at a restaurant that was special to us, with all of our friends and family present. I didn't even know he was considering proposing. To his eternal credit, he scrapped that plan and proposed later in a beautiful, well-thought-out private way, and I didn't know about the scrapped public proposal until long after. Yes, we got married, and still are 22 years later. Haha, when I first read this, I thought you were driving to the proposal when you said that. Good on him for changing the plan. Steven was really angry I'd aired his dirty laundry, so here's the rest of the story. Lol. I hope they were able to find a proposal that made them both happy. It would have been so easy to get what they both wanted to. He rents out the bar so they're alone, pops the question, celebratory drinks, calls friends and family that are on standby and have a party. Why is it so hard for people to freaking listen to their partner? Especially with something as emotional as a marriage proposal. Me? I'd love a public proposal. As long as the public wasn't inconvenienced by it. I'm not the least bit shy. But plenty of people wouldn't like that at all, like Opie's girlfriend. Honestly, I'd have a pretty hard time moving forward in a relationship where my direct and clear expectations for something that big were ignored. What else would be ignored? If my partner can't handle a straightforward request like no public proposal, I would wonder what else will be disregarded and take a hard look about smaller things that I ignored because it didn't seem like a big deal. I told my ex I would say no to a proposal if he asked my father for permission/blessing. He got very agitated and said he had to because otherwise it was disrespectful. I figured this was a pretty clear indicator of my future.